They are the parents. Parenting does not mean just guiding the children on the general values, but they must instill in them the bhakti or the dedication to our land, to our Madhur our precious Bharat.
The kind of help parents can give requires mindfulness in the sense of being attentive to the child, understanding the child, and being responsive to the child's needs, because ultimately the child's happiness should be all that matters to us as parents.
To be a mindful parent, or to walk the path of mindful parenting, I think we as parents need to regulate our emotions.
In lifestyle medicine and holistic medicine, we look at what does the patient need, what does a child need, what does a parent need, rather than us assuming that all children need a particular thing, all parents need a particular thing. It's always the other way.
So, the power to empower is coming from here. So whether it's parents, whether it's educators, actually the entire society, because we are who are creating that energy.
A 9-year-old or an 8-year-old or a 7-year-old, they're not listening to what I'm saying. They're following what I'm doing. So if I have a bad style of game, they will just follow me. If I have a good style of game, they will just follow me. They're just mirroring me. And I think in some sense, that is also what is happening as a parent and a child. The kid is actually mirroring you. He's not listening.
Again, the same issue that we are looking at today is that parents don't have time for children. They try to compensate their presence and time with material goods, which is also affecting the children. For example, even the small children, the kindergarten children whom parents cannot give time, have been given the gadgets because they can look at the gadget, they can continuously watch something. So the child is continuously on the gadget, but the presence of the parent is not there in the child's life.
We greet you very warmly. I'm very, very welcome, ma'am. Thank you for taking the time out for us.
Thank you so very much for having me.
Thank you, ma'am. Ajay, we greet you very warmly. Rahulji, very welcome. Mami, so much gratitude. I just want to share, we had a lovely talk. I had a lovely conversation with ma'am, with Kalpana ma'am, and with complete admiration. I say this, that she she brings her complete whole to her parenting. Each experience of her life is very precious to her. And she did mention how who we are in our personal space reflects in our parenting. So, with complete admiration for you, ma'am, we start the program. Mami Ji.
Go ahead, Kalpana. I've been looking forward to hearing you because the kind of versatility you have, we all three, Ajay and Rahul, we really look forward to listening to you. Please go ahead, tell us about the insights of what Saina just mentioned.
Thank you very much. And before I begin, I must thank you for having me on board, and particularly Dr. Bedi. Just I'm a great admirer of you, and Sign Up was beautiful speaking with you and connecting with you the other day. And thank you for having this program because I feel today we need so much more on parenting skills. I don't think anybody comes with a package or a manual, and no manual is good enough because each child is different, each parent is different. We bring our own experiences to how we're parenting. I must say that my journey about parenting was like a very road, and as you go by, you change the steering wheel when you need to change. There will be storms, there'll be puddles, there'll be rain and frost, and you need to change and move and maneuver as it goes by. Much of my parenting came from learning from my girls as to what the need was at that moment. My key into the focus or the key thing that I do ensure is that they are happy, that they have joy. There's no point in trying to achieve that 99% or the 100% if the child is suffering within. So that is crucial because if we can achieve that, but at what cost? I would definitely try to. I also have this policy at home that when we're eating mindfully. We're eating, we know what we're eating, and also ensuring that the food on the plate is important. We acknowledge that and we eat as a family. While eating, we also may ensure that we speak only happy things. We listen to one another. Listening is a very important aspect. I realize sometimes kids are saying something and they say, haha, that's not good enough because it's extremely important to pay attention to what is being said. Sometimes it's important to read between the lines, and sometimes it's important to not take the conversation any further, but take them aside and find out if any of my two girls are upset about something. It's important to find out why. If they're behaving badly, why? Going to the root of it can help resolve those things. And so through the journey I have found that, in fact, one of the things I must say that we turned vegan because of our daughters. That came from the need to be, it came from this thing of being passionate towards animals, being cruelty free towards animals. So that was a huge learning lesson for us, and I just felt that our children teach us so much only if we pay attention to what is being said and being done. And then our actions are very important. If we respect them, which we should, and then go along with them, the amount we can achieve is huge. I do not know if you know that our both daughters have myopathy. It's a rare genetic disorder. Um, and in India, it is children of this age do not make it. They don't survive that long. So love is a very powerful tool. Love is extremely powerful, more than any medication can. So if a child is in a traumatic situation, any form of trauma, it doesn't have to be even stresses of exam or anything, just a little compassion and love from a parent can really boost them and go through. India is now capital for the world capital for suicides because the kind of stresses children go through. A little bit of understanding from parents and compassion and saying that it's all right, we'll get through it together. It's not just your responsibility, but all of us as a family. I think children do that, do extremely well. So I think each individual wants to be acknowledged and feel that, okay, we are persons and not just as a simple youngster at home and their voices are not heard. They need to be felt valued, heard, listened to, paid attention to, not overdoing it to make them, we see very abrasive children as well. Disciplining is also important, but there is a way to discipline. And I think that all of that means together. And over the period of time, I've seen how much they grasp at home because over discussions, when you're talking about environment or rights of the people or child rights or just general as to how you treat a staff member who work at home, they're picking up each as you pass by. So your own behavior, mannerism, language, just picking up, absorbing everything. And so therefore I think in some sense the schooling is important, but home is where the real education takes place in some sense, and giving them the right values and giving them confidence and telling them no matter what you are, we are there for you because we are your parents. So that's if I can put it in a capsule, that's been my model of parenting.
That's beautiful, ma'am. Ma'am,
Fantastic.
hearing you, I can clearly, we all can clearly feel, we can feel the deep love you have for your children. मैम आपको लगता है that when parenting, being a mother, being a father, being a parent is the greatest need and want or a priority for a parent?
Absolutely.
All the insight you need, the care and the love and the resources and the strength and the wisdom you need for your child comes to you. The universe gives it to you when
Absolutely.
it's a great need to be a parent, ma'am.
Absolutely. You couldn't have put it any better way. I do have two stepsons as well. Remarkable young men, remarkable, very bright, intelligent, sensitive, principle minded. Very lucky to have them in our lives. But they're grown up. They don't need us to be holding their hands. But our girls do much of our holding hands and taking them through, maneuvering through their lives. They're called as miracle children. They're called as wonder kids because of the condition that they have. They have also become kind of study for doctors who are working in this area, scientists who are working in this area. And it comes from the fact that they feel valued. And it's a two-way process where you are constantly taking from them and giving it back to them as well. And without paying children attention, very often I see that however busy a parent is, however the set of parents are busy, they don't need 24/7 time. They just need a little bit of time where they feel, my parents do care for me. That's enough. And also sometimes I see, I'm not blaming anyone because I don't think anyone is perfect. I've seen the kid is trying to say something and they're constantly on their mobile phones, or I'll talk to you later, and they're on the phones or trying to finish another project. I think dedicated little time between both sets of parents, or if anybody else from the family, just giving them that little bit. And I've also seen parents putting too much of pressure. Now you have to do your golf, and now you have to do your piano, now you have to do this, and now you have to do that. What about joy? What are the basic thing of running out and playing, or just playing with the goofing around and be just kids? So these are extremely important. And also in that process, they learn so much more about the values. And I would also think that one of the things I did was changing stories, like for instance the fairy tales. I'm like one person who doesn't like any fairy tales. I just felt that they so need to be changed. In fact, one of the first things when Priyanka and Mahi came to our lives, I took Cinderella and I changed the entire story. I took Cinderella and made her a child who is on a wheelchair. Her stepmother is a delightful, wonderful person, because we stereotype so much. And we made this person where this girl, she went to this the ball not because she wanted to get married, but she was just inquisitive. She didn't go into the hall to dance, but she stayed in the garden of the palace. And she attracted all the birds and the deer, and everybody came because she had a beautiful soul. And she sang very beautifully. That charmed the prince, and the prince came out and asked for her hand in marriage. And she declined, and she said, I have a long way to go. I have education to complete. I have to travel. I have to work. And
Lovely.
so I changed the story. So my girls also started thinking that way, of taking everything and changing it to making it positive, making it empowered, So these are stories, and we tell our stories. Children recreate the stories and make it more today, make it more relevant, give them power by making them confident and saying that, well, you're on a wheelchair, so you're beautiful. So you're on a wheelchair, so you're confident. You're able to do so many more things that I can't. They're on this electric wheelchairs where they're reverse the vehicles, and it's like reversing a car. And so no matter what, whether they're abled or not fully abled, doesn't matter. What is that we all have different skills. It's like expecting a fish to be a carpenter. They'll fail. But if a fish is to be competing in swimming, they'll win. So not expecting every child to fit into a box and doing what they need to do and getting 100% in every subject I think, is putting too much stress in our children today, and giving them what they can flourish, and being proud of them, and actually genuinely being proud of them. They'll do so much better than what they can ever achieve. And I think that's a key to it's ensuring that we're all one family, and we're one large extended family too. We are all interconnected, intertwined, and be supportive. And children doesn't restrict and limit only to our children who are there in our homes, but also our staff children or whoever. Just a little bit of compassion and kindness and support them. We have a staff member whose daughter is now studying law. Just a little bit of, I showed her a movie, spoke to her, and suddenly there she was joining a law school, and we're mentoring her. So we can also do that, just a little extending our hands. So they are children too, of the children of the community, and at the larger sense of how do we help build the nation, just by extending a hand just a little bit, then what we can stretch a little bit, and all of us can do that.
I'm fascinated. Kalpana, if I can call you Kalpana?
Yeah, of course, Dr. Didi, you should.
I'm really fascinated by your narration. Truly fascinated. I've made a list of about almost 20 points. You've said so many wonderful things. Each one stands by itself. You know what? Two things I have to say. This program of our parenting comes from Dr. Ajay Kumar's book on parenting.
Yes.
Ajay and I happened to meet at his book release on parenting.
Yes.
And I told him, he came from Abu Dhabi at that time, and his team of lithology, Rahul, and there many others. And we all like-minded got together to release his book on parenting. Then I suggested Ajay, why don't we do a program on parenting? And the book becomes the cause factor. You know, just as his book became the reason of this program, Kalpana, I think you have an exciting thing on hand. Also, to do two things as an idea. You made me ideate listening to you. One is the customization of your storybooks of Cinderella kind.
Yes.
I think if you can start documenting how you customized it for children with special abilities, I think that would be wonderful. Not done at all. I haven't come across any such document. One is, how do you record these and picturesquely? You know, same way the way Cinderella is illustrated storybooks.
Correct.
But now done it for the other category of people who don't have to go for a prince and a ball. So ball and the prince are of a very elitist and different.
Absolutely.
Secondly is, look, the kind of list you've given me, it's an amazing, each one is a chapter. Each one is a heading of a chapter. So why you could consider writing even a book on parenting.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I never thought I would have it in me until my girls fell on my lap, literally. And it was not a conscious decision of taking them, but the universe had planned it that way, and it happened. And I think the kind of strength I get from them, and the kind of resilience I get from them, and every day is a new chapter. And just I think there's a larger purpose of being associated with my girls. But I must also take it forward. I did rewrite chapters like Cinderella, but I also rewrote science books and all of the textbooks. I used to teach Mahi, and Mahi used to have a tutor. But came COVID, and I started teaching her, and I realized they both went to Sanskrit school. I realized that Mahi was lagging behind in class. So when I took on her, teaching her, she started in the top 5. And she would get 100% mark in science, 100% marks in math and science. She was fantastic in. So only thing was that when she wrote, she couldn't write long sentences like seeds consists of the whole gamut. So I rewrote. I took the chapter and I rewrote. All I did was, it's science, it's not literature. So they're not gauging your language skills or the vocabulary that you know. So seeds has colon and just bullet point of what a seed has, and she'd get a full mark because you know the subject. You don't have to be writing long sentences, and that's brilliant, and that's what the gauge. And so it's about how we write and how we connect, and every child is so unique. Some children are brilliant in their language skills, some are not. So I think we should also have the scope and give children that capability of or allow them to write or communicate in the way they can. And but also I must emphasize on language. This was not with regards to my girls, but our oldest son Abhinav, his son went to one of this very very eminent school in Bombay, and or Mumbai as now called, and he spoke Hindi in the school, and the school sent back a note to the parents saying that he should be speaking only English. And I worry about our country. Why is Hindi not given importance, or any Indian language? And Indian language, we should be proud of our Indian languages as much as English is considered as a language of our official language. But why should we shun any child for having spoken either Tamil or Bengali or Oriya or Hindi? We should be very proud. And I worry about our cities when we are looked down upon for speaking a language that we should be so proud of. And that's something that, again, I see almost every single parent today speaking only English to their children. I'm guilty of. We come from, I don't necessarily blame parents, because now it's multicultural. Like I'm from Orissa, my husband is from Maharashtra, our girls are from Uttarakhand, our daughters-in-laws are from Gujarat or Gujaratis. So you have to have a uniform language or that unites everybody, and therefore the English. But why is Hindi bad? Hindi is not bad at all. It's something that we should with great pride speak. So I don't think that's so much of a problem in Delhi, where Delhi people speak our Indian languages with great pride. And also don't think so much of a problem in the south of India. But I would think there is a certain degree of problem in South Mumbai, where the first language is Saina, you would be better able to say how it is in Pune, but increasingly I'm seeing that happening in South Delhi as well, that medium of instruction. And sometimes the child struggles. Why I say this is the child struggles, because they communicate best in the language that they know. Doesn't matter which language, and let them communicate. Communication is key to getting through to things, of not feeling ashamed that something is bothering them. How do they best express? The best express in the language that they know, not trying to figure out, oh, how do I frame this sentence in English and how do I express this? Very often child is trying to say something, and everything the child tries to say is important. Doesn't matter how frivolous it may sound, it is important.
Ajay ji, आप पूछेंगे मैम को? I have something in mind. I'll take it later.
Hello, Kalpana ji.
Yes.
As parents, one of the most important aspects of our relationship with our children is ensuring that they feel comfortable coming to us when they make a mistake or need advice. It's crucial to be approachable and create an environment where children feel safe to share their thoughts, decisions, or even failures. Well, when children are confident enough to introduce us to their friends and colleagues, it speaks volumes about the trust and respect they have for us as parents. So, Kalpana ji, from your experience as a mother, how do you ensure that children feel safe coming to you for advice or when they have made a mistake? How can parents strike a balance between guiding their children and not being overly judgmental, so that children feel supported rather than judged?
Yes, it is. It's not easy. Parenting is never easy. But if the child knows that you're there, and the child believes that you will love them no matter what, they'll come up and say that, okay, I made this mistake, I'm sorry. So one of the things I would believe is to not fire the kid in front of, or scold the child in front of others, shaming them. Shaming is one of the worst things that a parent can ever do, is to feel that the child will then never come back, saying that, oh, I made this mistake. So the fine line between saying, oh, there could be small mistakes and there could be big mistakes. So if it is small mistake, also saying that, oh, doesn't matter, you can make me as many mistakes. No. Telling them, ensuring them, taking them aside and explaining to them the consequences of doing something wrong, and also telling them how to walk the right path. I've always told my daughters that the magic words are please, sorry, thank you, excuse me. These are magic words. You can win the world by just saying, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Oh, thank you very much. Oh, thank you very much for bringing me a glass of water. Oh, excuse me. The sorry and just a smile and sorry and thank you can really win world. And my two daughters do fight and typical teenagers at this moment of time, but it's just like this afternoon, my younger daughter didn't want to have lunch with us. She wanted to sit in a room. And so I went up to her and I said, I will feel happy if you came and have lunch. It is not so much as your need, it's you are giving me time. And she suddenly felt, oh, okay, I'll sit. So it's this feeling that, okay, you are also a valued member of the family. It's not that I need you to be there because you must be there at the dining table, but you are bringing some value addition and we value that. So if they feel that safe net of not being felt overtly punished, I think any form of punishment is bad. Punishment can be something like we were planning to a trip and that trip is not going to happen if you do XYZ, or I mean, depends on what kind of a mistake they're doing. I mean, I hear of horrendous mistakes that children do. They shouldn't walk that path at all. Why did the first place go on that path? I blame adults if any children have done anything heinous. Because children don't have that kind of mind at all. Where have they learned that? What kind of exposure did they get? What kind of environment one has created? Why have they gotten in that first place of being in a very dark place? Also, I believe in consulting professionals. I do have a counselor for both my girls. Priyanka went through a counseling when she was in the school because everybody deserves to go to counselor. I would feel that life is as such, and we all can do with the counseling at some point of time. And earlier we did have the grandparents and everybody who you can fall back, and they were the best counselors, I would think. I think my nanny was the greatest counselor I could ever ask for. But today, because of our lives are as such, we may not be able to deal with complex situations. I do have a counselor for Mahi who comes, and there's no typical counselor. They just play games, and through the games the counselor is able to understand as to who is she struggling with because of her abilities. She wants to be independent, she wants to not have an attendant, she feels that I don't want I don't want to be pitied, I don't want sympathy, don't want pity, I want to be able to do everything that everybody else is doing. And so my way of dealing with that is saying that, hey, you're so wonderful, people don't know half of what you can do and you're better off then. So there again it comes back to feeling valued and feel that I can always reach out to my parents should anything be the matter. Yes, in extreme cases do engage a counselor, but otherwise parents are the greatest counselors. Grandparents can be brilliant counselors. And I think the key is being felt that I am valued, I'm loved, I can have your backing. No matter what, I can have your backing. So yes.
Thank you. Yeah, just one more thing.
Yes, Rajiv. Yes.
Energy, can I speak?
Yes.
Yeah, based on our last session's discussion, we had done a scenario and a survey on 1,000 parents. Ma'am, you remember the last month we had a discussion on homebound parents and the confidence of the children. What we came to conclusion that the children where there are grandparents or grandparents raised children, they have better emotional intelligence and confidence. I just wanted to make this point as an addition to what Raji was speaking.
So survey has revealed that.
Yes, we have just done 1,000. We are trying to do it for 10,000 participants. So it will take a little bit more time.
Fantastic. Let's know more about it in the next session.
Yeah, ma'am.
That's a good, interesting. And that's reinforcing what Kalpana is saying.
Yes.
Based on now empirical or surveyed evidence.
I think grandparents have this wisdom. I think the kind of well-lived lives and that wisdom transferring to children, it's brilliant because I didn't necessarily grow up in a joint family system. Ever so often when my grandmother came to stay with us or we went to our ancestral homes, amount that small vacation, the amount I would have learned is perhaps more than a university can teach. And an emotional quotient. It's just the soak in and through the beautiful storytelling, you just have grasped things and you come back home and you learn,
so much important that I think grandparents are the brilliant things to have. I think family networks and our uncles and aunts and cousins, and you don't necessarily in our modern city lives, you don't necessarily have to have blood relationships, but your closest family friends who you make your uncles and aunts, and you choose your families. You choose your friends carefully. You choose your friends carefully, and you tell your children to choose your friends carefully, and inviting the children across and seeing as to how good they are. If you are in good group, you're just safe, and they'll help you sail through. Every time we have had a difficult situation, our friends who are our families have helped us through smoothly sail through things. And I think we have created our own universe, and the children are safest in the hands. When I'm traveling, I'm fearful for my girls because there's always medical issues and things like that. Our friends are there like holding a fort, and I feel so comforted. And they pitch in like a grandparent, somebody's pitching in like an uncle, an aunt, a cousin, an older sister, or I think it's a brilliant system. And thankfully that is available in India. I don't know how much you get that kind of support system elsewhere, but we're very lucky to have that support system in India. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a beautiful system. Also,
Ji,
our pets are the beautiful. Anybody who has pets are the greatest bodyguards or shock absorbers, and they teach little beautiful things which uh, I think again it's difficult to learn from elsewhere. Just by observing animals, they learn so very much.
wonderful. Rahul ji, please आप बात करें, then I'll ask.
Kalpana ma'am, it was great listening to you. As a parent of two young boys, I have learned so much from Dr. Kiran Bedi ma'am and Dr. Ajay Kumar sir's book. So one doubt I naturally have is, in nations like New Zealand, they have early childcare and education centers which integrates parenting education as a part of their services. And even
Correct.
in Scandinavian nations like Finland, and even if you go to New Zealand, Australia, you have some kind of a state level program which inspires and integrates parenting education.
Correct.
Shouldn't we also have in India, especially these things are only accessible to a very selected few? Shouldn't we
Correct.
also think, as a nation, think on integrating parenting education to somewhere like school, teenage education, and all? As my son is growing up, I'm getting worried how to talk to him certain things, how to tell him not to see some YouTube videos. So I
Correct.
really don't. I'm confused. I have learned from Ajay Kumar sir's book regarding many things. So shouldn't we have integrating parenting education also into our school college system?
I would agree and disagree. Maybe, some of the things I learned from the school, they were, but before they went to school, much before they got information about sex education, I had taught my girls about the good touch and the bad touch, and I would repeatedly talk to them. And on one occasion, I remember my younger daughter, Mahi, she cried and she said, I don't want to go to school today. I didn't ask her why she didn't want to go to school today. I said yes. And I called up the school and I called up the principal and asked, why is my daughter not wanting to go to school? What is the problem in the school? So I wanted to get to the bottom of it. So it's very often there's something in the school that's bothering them. So let's not put it on the child. Let's find out what's going on in the school. And then later at Sanskrit, they had beautiful these class sessions on how to deal with online. Your children could be playing some online games and things like that, which I learned from the school. So between the school and parents, one can learn a lot. Not every school has these kind of facilities. Yes, some parenting skills can be good, but how many people can get access to it? It's a very small segment. But I don't want to put every child or every parent in the same box. I don't want. I would think that one of the I don't know whether I'm being cynical, but I often feel that every person, if they have the same thought and they bring the same ethos and the same values, and every child is trying to be made into the same box, the creativity will die. So parenting also needs to maneuver and try and see as to what bill fits there. Not necessarily everything can fit every single child. Your circumstances could be different, your resources could be different, your environment could be different. Somewhere, even though both parents are there for a child, one parent could be transferred or one parent could be in the army, or so a single parent is working with the child. So some nuances are important, but I feel that your child will teach you more than anybody else. But having certain tools will certainly help. And So there are some guidelines which says that these things are telltale signs. Watch out for them. So those are very important to see as to why a child is being hiding in the room and staying, not getting out at all. Is that is clearly bothersome for the child. So yes, it can perhaps help, but then even then you still have to navigate through your child, because your child will not be the exact same thing of another child. Two kids of the same parents will never be the same. You'll very often wonder how come they're siblings and they're so very different. So a module could help you only so much, but the rest is you have to find out on your own as to how to bite that bullet, or how to navigate that.
Rahul, are you aware of what is the module? What is it that in New Zealand or Finland or Scandinavian countries are they doing early childhood? Kya kar rahe ho? What is the module?
I was there in Finland last year as a part of our Startup India, and I visited many schools. They have some kind of a module, and I'll get you the details. Module where good touch, bad touch is being taught, how to talk to students are taught, orientation regarding communication, the importance of family orientation. Many of our Christian community does that in Kerala and the other spaces where they give marital education and parenting education integrated to their spiritual life. So I was thinking when I went there, if you have to keep it to a mass or a large scale, unless there is an institutional inspiration, it will be very tough for the last person to get it. Otherwise, it will remain a middle class, upper middle class, or upper class fascination. In order for everyone to get it, that was the spirit of my question. I'll get you the module, ma'am. I know I have it. I'll get you the.
In fact, maybe we can have a discussion on that module. Let's find out. Let's have somebody from the embassy. We can identify from some of these embassies and what is their early childhood parenting module, and we could have a discussion with some principal also on the panel. I think, Rahul, it might be a good idea to have something like this, because see, as Kalpana says, there could be some basics of parenting, some basics. Some basics could be presence.
Yeah.
See, some basics could be presence. Some basis could be your own behavior. Some basis could be own dignity between the wife and the husband and the wife. Respect for the elders in the home, their own behavior. I think that's a basic. So I think it might be an interesting idea to have a discussion on this parenting, the Scandinavian early parenting module, and absence here. Absence, as Kalpana says, actually we all are learning by trial and error. But in the process, while we're making a mistake, the child is growing up.
Yes.
That's a problem. While we may be staying the same age because we're still there, we are only older. But here the child is growing up, and we do not know then why the child, his habits have been formed, attitudes have been formed, aptitudes have been formed, and we lost the bus. I think it might be a good idea, because I think there's a case for some basics to understand. First of all, I think the first requirement of a parenting is, do you want to be a parent?
Oh, yes.
That's a key. Do you want to be a parent? There's a compulsion that now that you've got married, that you have to become a mother or you have to become a father. Because the grandparents force you, sometimes the in-laws force you, itne saal ki shaadi hogi, where's the child? But the working mother, or the parents have chosen, no, I think we don't want to be parents. We could do some other systems of caring with them, having time with the children, but we'll have other systems, but not our own biological children. I think it's already a situation has come in the society where youngsters are getting married, and in between the two, they're deciding we want to be biological parents ourselves. See, but so there's a difference between biological parents and parents you've taken, as Kalpana has done that. But you see, she's done it out of love of it, and the love continues. But here you have biological parents also where the love is missing, or there is no decorum in the house and what the child is learning. I think these are the real challenge. Let's go for the question here is, do you want to be a parent? If it is, then understand what it means.
Ma'am, I've been listening to you and feeling your thoughts. Something that I want to ask you. Mahi and Priyanka have are God sent in your life.
Correct.
They've come for you, Answer. They've just come for you, Answer. In fact, they've come for both of you.
That's true.
You feel that. I can make out that they've come for both of you. Ma'am, what has it been like? What are the little flowers that they've given you every day? Because I think they've come in like fragrance and love. They've brought in pure love into your life, into Sir's life. What are all the life learnings and the wisdom and the little flowers that they've given you?
Oh, Saina, you speak with so much of passion and compassion. My God, you're a wonderful person. You're so right that these girls, Dr. Bedi, you were so right about parenting as to do you even want to be a parent? Do you even want to have children, biological children? I was very clear that it did want to have children, like biological children. I was crystal clear because I said, to be a parent, you need to be a nice person. To be a parent, you have to have compassion. You have to have time. You have to value others. You have to be there, be present, all of that. And I doubted. I said, I work, I travel in the world, I'm doing things. I do not know whether I can do parenting, whether it is I can justify parenting. So I chose not to have children. And then when Dhananjay and I got married, it's very, very clear that anyway he had two boys. So I was very happy that two boys, you don't have to do anything more. And then Mahi and Priyanka happened. They just happened to be there. And we chose to take them on because the condition that they were in, that we felt if we didn't take care of them, they would have no fighting chance. And so we chose to take them with all that came with as a package, and it just life changed immediately. When Mahi looked at me the first time, I felt as if somebody was looking into my soul and not at me as a human being. And the difference is, I cannot even tell you the piercing. It just something was piercing into me. And the first time I gave her something to eat was a banana. She couldn't speak very much. She didn't. The voice was very, very meek. So she took my hand and kissed it. Tears just rolled down my hand, my eyes. She was little. She was like 4 years something. She was not 5 yet. The communication was is a universal language. You don't have no. Kiss is a kiss. It's a universal language of gratitude. And then I learned how. They fought to survive, how they had the spirit and the zeal, and they were excited over little things, and their cognitive senses were very poor, yet they fought on. And we're like both of us saying that we get upset about small little things. Here they don't have anything on their hand. And when they came to us in 2015, the doctors had said to us their lifespan is 6 months, and it's
Oh,
been 9 years and more they've been with
wow.
us. So the
Wow.
power of love, the power of it's just, you can fight a battle with a smile. You can fight a battle with love, kindness, and compassion can win the world and win people over. So it has been. We have taught, we have learned from them, and they have learned from us, and we became such a beautiful family together. And um, when Saina, when you ask what we have learned to also appreciate nature more. I was always a nature lover, but to appreciate and respect every human life on the earth. Mahi, when she was 5 years old, we had taken her to the zoo and she cried and she said, what have these animals done wrong? Why are they in cages? She wept. We were in Lucknow and she wept. She didn't want to see the animals in the zoo. And it's the first time that she was going to a zoo. She had never gone to a zoo before. They came from a little village in Uttarakhand. And then I took them to Bombay and I took them, it was Mahi's birthday. I thought, oh, I'll treat them by taking them to Inox and show them a nice movie, Finding Dory or Finding Nemo, one of these movies. And she didn't like the movie at all. She said, why? Why are humans doing that to the fish? Why are they in boxes? Why are all that happening? Those days, Dhananjay and I did eat fish and eggs. So that evening, we were in Bombay. This caretaker, he brings fish on the table and she looks at my plate and says,
That is Dory. You are eating Dory. Its mama is looking for it. Its brother is crying. There's no way we could eat it. And there was no way I could touch it. And over a period of time, then she would talk about, she and Priyanka, they talk like saints. She says to me, it's eggs. It's not that eggs, I don't like the taste of eggs. I don't feel good about it. She said, there is life, there is life in the egg. And I said, the eggs that we get is non-fertilizable and they are free-range eggs. So she says, how do you know? How do you know? You do not know that milk fertilized. She said, look at the plant outside our house, that there are eggs and the chicks come out. So there is life in this. So over a period of time, I did have leather and wool and silk and feather and everything. I just couldn't use it because she would question me on everything. She would ask me, your leather jacket, an animal has died for this? I said, no, nobody would kill an animal and to take a jacket until I found out. Well, actually, that's how it is done. Then she would question me, oh, bone china, what does bone china mean? So the bone china means, are the bones being killed? So the animal is killed so that you can take the bone and make a cup out of it. I was horrified until I found out, yes, in the commercial world, they're not waiting for an animal to die. They'll kill the animal because they need the bone. They'll kill the animal, they need the skin. Then kill the animal because they want the feather. They'll kill the animal for whatever, their silk and wool and feather and leather, everything coming from there. So then eventually, slowly, I do not know when I turned vegan. It was a process. So the kind of learning was, have respect for all creatures that are there on the earth, have respect and compassion for all creatures that walk on the earth. And the earth is not only for us, the earth is for everyone. And then she always says, I say, Mahi, your cats eat eggs. She says, they don't have a choice. We have choices. And she was very little, and she became my guru, and I learned from her as to how to have respect for other creatures. And now I look at my monkeys in the garden. We do have several monkeys, about 60, 70 monkeys. And we do have this monkey chase.
60, 70.
Yes, but they're babies and the whole family out there. But now I just sit and observe them, and they're so brilliant, because earlier I would say, oh, Bandaraya, Bandaraya, and the monkey chasers would come and chase them away. But now we don't. We just learn to share spaces with creatures that are there, because we have invaded their spaces. Where will they go? And so when we have concretized our world and say every part of the earth should belong to us, where will they go? And trivia that I learned from them is, there's so much of trivia. She'll come up and say, do you know that octopus has this? And do you know that it's... So the learning, and then I learned that on the earth, there is the human population is humans, not population, humans consist of, make 0.01% of all creatures, yet humans control all animals. Only 4% of all creatures are there in the wild. Everything else is under human control, either as livestock or otherwise. And the 30% of all birds are free. Everything is in the poultry industry. So that's the kind of control human has. So that's something I learned from them. So it's so much to learn, and so, oh my God, what can I do to reverse that? What can I do? In the last 50 years, 70%, 75% of the wild has disappeared because of a human doing, of deforestation, of concretizing, of culling or killing or livestock or just testing on animals. Priyanka taught us about testing on animals. She said, my sister-in-law brought some cosmetics from the US, and she returned it. She said, I can't accept this. These have been tested on animals. So I said, I thought testing on animals means if it's a perfume, you just spray it on an animal and the animal is fine. It's good to be sold in the market. She said, no, the skin is peeled off. And it's a very cruel industry. And even for a lipstick, the skin is peeled off, and then they're tested, the animals are caged. And so when I researched and found out, I said, I don't want to be a part of this industry. I will now henceforth make sure everything that I buy is going to be cruelty-free. So they are the ones who taught us to be cruelty-free. So now we lead a life, which of course I still have my silk and wool, but not buying anymore, not accepting anymore. Anything that comes from an animal, we do not. Because for the greed, humans can go to any extent. In fact, there are parts of the world where if culling has to be done. They use it as a sport. The animals are auctioned, and one can go and shoot them and win a prize. And so it's fun. So it's not fun at all. So I think that's a big learning, and that we gained from both the girls, and also learned about how they're so happy in their own world. We need constant validation. We need constantly to be told that we are brilliant. They don't. They're just so happy. So it's joy they get from small things in life. So that's another learning that we have had, is to and everything, focus on the positive. Just focus on the positive. And so that's one of the most brilliant things that has come to our life, is that every small thing matters. Rejoice the rain, have joy when there are mist on the grass. It's a blessing to be in a house like this. It's a blessing to have trees around, it's a blessing to have animals around, blessing to have staff serving. Very often we forget that they don't need to, or there's poverty, they will. But the fact that somebody is cooking and bringing food on the table, what a blessing, what a blessing. That your house is kept well, it's a blessing. And so now we view the world differently, view the world with much more compassion and appreciation and gratitude. The fact that we live, that we can breathe, because it's a gift also to be able to be healthy and fit. It's a gift. It's a gift. And yeah, so that's one of the major things that they've helped us to be more appreciative of the many things that they're with us. We take so much for granted.
Kalpana, tell us your one day. Can I ask Saina? I know you balancing your emotions. I know that.
Yeah.
She's been teary. Saina has been totally teary.
Yes.
I just have a thought to share with ma'am. I'll do it later. You please ask. I have a thought.
If you can hold the thought, otherwise you go ahead.
No, please ask. I'm holding the thought.
Okay, then don't forget it. Kalpana, how's your day like with the two girls? Take us through the day.
Yes,
Till
of
they go to
course.
bed.
Yes, of course. So we do have 3 full-time nurses with us. So the one of whom is a critical care nurse, and I do have a attendant. Nonetheless, I do have a busy life, for both because of my husband's position, and also to get investments, because the kind of lifestyle that we have, I need to have my resources. So I invest well. I did work in the past, so I have been investing and growing well. So I do my investments. I read about my finances. I also very keenly into gender, wherever I can work on gender rights, and so I work on that as well. But I ensure that food and nutrition is one major thing in my life. It's been there for many years. Food and nutrition, because years ago my father had a heart attack, and so things in my house became very, very healthy. The whole lifestyle, not that we ate unhealthy. By and large, if you stick to Indian food, the traditional Indian food, it's a very healthy, nutritious food. It's just the modern cooking and modern ways of life that have destroyed that. But otherwise, our thalis, the old traditional, if somebody sticks to their traditional food, which Kerala is very good with, of sticking to traditional food, is that it's scientifically designed, it's beautiful, it's nutritious. So back in, I think, 2000, we became very conscious about food. And then I, from childhood, had a lot of food allergies, severely lactose intolerant, gluten allergy, and couldn't digest a lot of food like rajmas and chanas. So I used to experiment with creating recipes. I didn't cook it, but I would create a recipe and tell my cook, "Can you make it like that? Let's see how it works." And over a period of time, when I realized that my father was with us, and he had diabetes, just by tweaking his food, he didn't need any insulin. I am not a nutritionist, nor am I a dietitian, but just hit and trial and hit and trial. And so he said, "No, you're doing something wrong." And he got admitted at AIIMS. And the doctor said, "Whatever your daughter is doing something very good, because there's no need of your insulin dose." So that's again through hit and trial. And then I started buying books on Ayurveda and the Ayurveda food. And same thing happened when Priyanka was at PGI Chandigarh for 44 days. I requested doctors if I could give food from home. I was not at home, but I was in a guest house, and a friend of mine would cook the food the way I told her and what ingredients to put. And her parameters started improving every single day. So that the doctors were wondering, what is it that you do? So it's just going back to the basic, simple Indian food of ensuring that there's something called as food synergies. That's what combinations work and what don't. So if you stick to the very traditional style of cooking, then it's just so powerful. So I ensure that I create a menu for this every day, ensuring that it's a balanced diet, it's nutritious, that it has all the elements that are essential. So that's a part of my everyday day, that I go up to the kitchen and tell the staff, this needs to be done for breakfast, this is for lunch, this is for evening snack, and this is for dinner. So that it's entirely whole day's menu is ensuring the family's nutrition is in place. I also ensure that apart from my finances, my nutrition, then I give time to everyone. To my husband, he has very little time, but that very little time is our time. So again, dinners, we have to be sitting together as a family. We talk together. No phones. Doesn't matter who it is. No phones allowed during a meal time. Being mindful of each other, mindful eating, mindful about each other's feelings. So mindful, like you said, mindful parenting. It's mindful. Everything is being mindful of. So that's another aspect of it. And I also talk to every staff member. I find out because when we talk to staff, they come up with a problem that they're going through. Who will they go to? We are their universe. If we can do something for them, we should. And that's the only way we can uplift and bring about or eradicate some degree of or elevate people, and just eradication of poverty. It's just by talking to them. So we have educated some of our staff members, some of whom are now working, some of whom are like on the way of doing something. And one of these girls, she's so bright, and I keep telling her, one day you'll be a judge, mind you, one day you'll be. She's bright, she's sparkly. And so there's the whole gamut of things that I do. And also very actively into veganism. So I'm a vegan advocate as well. So that's a forum that I do very actively on gene therapy, because in the world, there's no way any form of therapy is there yet. I must say yet, because I'm optimistic that it will happen soon. And so I'm a part of this international forum on myopathy. And across the world, the kind of disease that my girls have, it's one of the rarest of rare diseases, and there's no treatment or cure for that. So I am working with this set of scientists and doctors in India, and fortunately, we are almost there finding some kind of a therapy, but the amount of resource that is required is huge. So I am trying to find resources. Unfortunately, Mr. Tata passed away. That was one of my agendas, was to going up to him and asking him for a certain amount of funding. But I'm very optimistic that we will find the funding, because people are there, generous people are there who will give. And right now, the one single dose costs something like a 30 crore. So if we don't, yes. So if we don't find a huge amount of funding, the research will not go forward, and children like Priyanka and Mahi will just perish. There will no scope for them to. And it's not just in India; it's a global issue. So initially, one can address that. The gene therapy in India, but we can be global leaders in this field. And because if we have found something, very quickly we can spring it around and take it forward to the whole world.
Do your girls go to school, Kalpana? Regular
They
school?
They did go to Sanskriti, and they were doing very brilliantly. But in 2021, December 27th, Priyanka had a respiratory failure in Shimla. And Shimla, unfortunately, didn't have the facilities, and they couldn't do anything. So we had to head her down to Chandigarh, and she was ventilated. And then they ventilated her, and they said that she'll survive only for 3 seconds. But it's been 2 years and longer.
So how do they spend the day with you? How do they spend the day? What's the day like?
So they do have therapy, a lot of therapy. There's occupational therapy, there's physiotherapy, there's hydrotherapy, there's dysphagia. Apart from that, Priyanka learns piano. Yes, there's therapy, more therapy. So then Priyanka learns the piano, Mahi learns cello, and they are excellent chess players. Both of them are brilliant chess. So they have a very analytical mind, strategical mind, very bright and sharp. So they have chess, then they have a teacher who comes by and teaches them. So I tell the teachers, teach them what they want to. Don't any structure, teach them. Like they want to learn about environment, but both of them are hugely into environment. Let's let them learn about environment. Let them learn about global warming and how we can make any positive changes by our own actions. So be practical and let them learn about who the presidents and the prime ministers are, or why elections are held. Very practical, pragmatic things, and also let them learn about some joyous things as well through the day, some fun elements as well. So they both have cameras and the beautiful pictures that they take. So whatever within the means. So there are things that they have to do because they must do, and then they do things to ensure that their own mental development is happening and they feel good about it. Also, there has to be fun. And on a given day, I'm very particular about food, but on a given day, if they want to have fun, then that too is done, and a little bit of food that is gives joy to the soul. But no junk. There is no junk in my house. We don't eat any processed food. There's nothing that will come from a packet. No biscuits or cookies, or we're not a family that eats from anything that has expiry date mentioned at the back of it. No cutting up open a package and munching on it. Those things don't happen. You want a snack, it is made fresh and you eat it. So they also value that. When somebody puts a cookie in front of them, they don't eat it. We make cookies. If you want cookie, we'll make it at home from the scratch. So we know what ingredients are gone. No preservatives. Yes, but occasionally if they want to, they can. But that's how my day goes. I keep myself very busy and constantly learning about food synergies, about what nature can heal us and how it can heal us, and how we can either help somebody or destroy somebody. So it's better to heal somebody or help somebody than to be a
Wow.
yeah.
Really
So,
wonderful. Super.
Ma'am, it's fascinating
Yeah.
hearing you, and I think it's fascinating knowing you. And
Yeah.
we really keep in touch, ma'am. We stay connected, and ma'am, maybe we take the proposal to a huge pharmaceutical company.
Yes.
Yes, we take this project to a huge pharmaceutical company.
What was your thought which you were holding, Saina?
Yes, ma'am. I seek forgiveness if I say anything more than I should. But I think your children have come for you, and they've put you on the most remarkable path of your life. And I think Priyanka and Mahi really love it when they see you and Sir so nourished.
Yes.
So, ma'am, you keep doing that. You and Sir keep doing that, and you keep nourishing yourself, because that's what your daughters want. And I think, ma'am, what they've come to do for you is you're trusting an unknown future to a known God. And they're telling you that no matter what it looks like out there, God is always in control. I think that's what they've given you. And very few get that.
Yes. We are the chosen one indeed.
They've given you the most beautiful emotion, and that's complete trust. How much you trust the universe, how much you trust nature, how much you trust the mysterious ways of the Almighty. And you don't.
Kalpana, all this is coming from Saina's working with children inside prisons.
Oh, wow.
That's where it's coming from. She works with children inside the prison. She also goes to orphanages. She also goes to the children hospitals. She is very child friendly. Children in prisons, children in hospitals, children in orphanages. She sent me yesterday pictures where she was with children with lot of challenges, and she was going and playing with them and having music. Send me pictures. That's what she does at this age.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Ma'am, mommy is being kind, but I think what I'm saying to you really, mommy is being kind.
She's getting it. She's telling you what she's getting.
Ma'am, what I'm doing, whatever I'm doing with my hands is grace making me do it. I don't think we as human beings are capable of doing anything good without their grace. I
Yes,
think all
yes,
all the
true. It's
good,
designed for that.
all the
I'm
good.
Thank you. I make sure my daughters go to an orphanage because when they feel that they have issues, when they go to an orphanage, they come back feeling, oh, we are so lucky and we want to contribute. We want to do something nice with the orphanage. So I'm so impressed with what you do, and only a beautiful soul can do what you're doing, Saina.
Yes.
Ma'am, it's all Ma's kripa. It's my faith. It's just my faith, and that also comes as grace. Ma'am, I'm frightened of the word I. So when I'm absolutely frightened of this word I. That's the most slippery space. But ma'am, you're fascinating. And please give all our regards to Sir. Because I think it's your love together that's making this happen.
Of course, strengthen each other.
Ma bless you and Sir and Priyanka and Mahi and your family.
It's the most beautiful event I have done. Thank you ever so much.
Thank you.
So much of emotions and genuineness I can see, and love. And I said, love can conquer the world, and so much love to give. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Ma be with you. Jai Dhari Ma. We thank our audience. Ajay sir, thank you so much. Always for your gentleness.
This program is because of Ajay.
Yes. And Rahul ji, thank you always for your kind words and encouragement. We are very, very grateful. Gratitude, Mummy. And ma'am, again, so much utmost admiration for you. Thank you
so much.
More strength to you, more joy to you. Thank you.
Jai Dhari Ma. Thank you.